Good morning. Somber vigils. Mourners turn out in force in Pennsylvania to pray for the victims of a schoolhouse madman, as his suicide note provides new details about why he snapped. Shocking twist, the congressman who quit over inappropriate emails to teenage boys claims he was molested by a clergyman as a teen. Is this the abuse excuse for bad behavior? And the running of the bulls, the Dow opens at a record high today, Wednesday, October 4th, 2006.
From NBC News, this is Today with Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Today on this Wednesday morning. I'm Matt Lauer. Meredith is on assignment today, but Ann Curry is standing by once again this morning in Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania. That, of course, the site of Monday's horrific school shooting. Ann, good morning to you.
Matt, good morning. The death toll from this horrific tragedy remains at 5, with 5 other girls still struggling to survive, hospitalized in serious or in critical condition. Last night, more than 1,600 people gathered at several prayer services here to remember the victims. New details are also emerging about Charles Roberts, the man who committed this horrendous crime before taking his own life. Investigators believe he spent nearly a week plotting the crime and may have planned to sexually assault the young girls inside before police rushed in. Authorities also say Roberts told his wife while he was holed up inside the school that he molested 2 relatives 20 years ago when he was a boy and was dreaming of molesting again. Well, coming up, we'll be speaking to a man who grew up in this community to tell us how this community is coping. Matt?
All right, Ann, we'll check back in with you in just a couple of minutes. Then we'll go to Washington and have more on that congressional email scandal. With pressure now building prior to the midterm election, some Republican leaders could be turning on each other. And a new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows that the scandal may be having a big impact. We're going to have more on that. Plus, we'll have more of our series on hidden germs. Today, we're headed undercover to see what's really lurking at some grocery stores. And then she got an A for effort a couple of weeks ago when she performed on our concert stage despite some big throat problems. Well, pop star Jessica Simpson will return to tell us about her latest venture. It's a new movie. We'll talk to her about that and some other things. But first, let's go back to Ann in Pennsylvania.
Matt, as I was mentioning earlier, the vigils have begun for the 5 children who have been killed and 5 more who are fighting to survive. Well, these vigils included smaller gatherings of Amish people who were talking and supporting each other, and also a large memorial that you saw pictures of earlier. We have some more that drew more than 1,000 people, that basically drew people from the broader community who mingled with the Amish in grief. This, as we learn new information about the gunman. The details about Charles Roberts' plan of attack on the one-room Amish schoolhouse and information about his troubled life were revealed in this suicide note left for his... Thank you. And now let's go back to you, Matt.
All right, Ann, thank you very much. Another big story we're covering this morning is the scandal surrounding former Congressman Mark Foley. As NBC's Norah O'Donnell reports, with midterm elections less than 5 weeks away, Republicans are scrambling to minimize the damage.
Mark Foley wants you to know that he is a gay man.
In Florida, another shocking twist in the Mark Foley case.
He kept his shame to himself for all.
I mean, the thing is, it's the base that's going to be upset by the Foley scandal that will end up dooming the Republican majority. I think Nancy Pelosi's the next Speaker of the House.
Joe Scarborough, interesting prediction. And you can catch, by the way, more on all this tonight on Scarborough Country. That's at 9 Eastern on MSNBC. Joe, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, man.
Let's get the rest of the morning's top stories. Natalie's at the news desk filling in for Ann. Natalie, good morning.
And good morning to you, Matt. Good morning, everyone. Overseas markets were mixed during the night, down in Tokyo, but up a bit in early trading in London, following Tuesday's record close on Wall Street. After days of flirting with the record, the Dow was up 57 points to close at a new high. NBC's chief financial correspondent Ann Thompson is at the New York Stock Exchange. Good morning to you, Ann. So what finally pushed the Dow over the top?
Good morning, Natalie. In a sentence, oil went down, so the Dow went up. The price of a barrel of crude fell to $58.68 yesterday, its lowest closing price in almost 8 months, and investors liked it. Why? Because falling energy prices means inflation is less of a threat, and that means that there is less of a chance that the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates, and it also means the consumers will have more money to spend at the mall rather than having to pour it all into the gas station.
And Ann, how important was the small investor to the rally?
Well, the small investor really hasn't been a big player here at all, Natalie, and you can figure that out by tracking U.S. stock mutual funds. In the first quarter of 2000, the last time the Dow was at these levels, investors were pouring record amounts of money into U.S. stock mutual funds. In the last 4 months, June, July, August, and September, they've actually taken more money out of U.S. stock mutual funds, some $18 billion. Natalie?
All right, very interesting. Ann Thompson at the New York Stock Exchange. Thank you, Ann. Today in Iraq, a series of bombings struck a shopping district in Baghdad, killing at least 16 people and wounding more than 80. There is growing concern following word that North Korea is planning a nuclear test. Today, international diplomats will consider what to do. NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent Andrea Mitchell has more. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning, Natalie. Well, the United Nations Security Council will meet today to discuss this new Korean threat. So far, there is no agreement on how to counter the dangerous regime. The announcement from Pyongyang came suddenly on official government television. It said U.S. threats compelled North Korea to conduct a nuclear test, calling it essential for self-defense. What is Kim Jong-il up to?
I think they're making a strong political statement in saying they're going to test. What they're saying is we're going to be a nuclear power, and there is no turning back.
Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, traveling in Cairo, issued a stern warning.
I think the United States would have to assess what options we have, but I just want to note it would be a very provocative act by the North Koreans.
But what are the administration's options? Already stretched thin in Iraq and Afghanistan, the president is trying to avoid another military confrontation, hoping instead for a diplomatic solution.
North Korea's posture may bring about the one thing George Bush has been working for and hasn't been able to get, and that is that the international community stands as one against North Korea.
One fear is that if North Korea does conduct its first nuclear test, Japan will then feel compelled to go nuclear, leading to a major escalation of nuclear weapons in the region. Natalie?
Andrea Mitchell in Washington. Thank you, Andrea. This morning, American Roger Kornberg won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. The Stanford University professor was honored for studying how cells take information from genes to make proteins. His father won the Nobel Prize in Medicine back in 1959. An accused hijacker is in custody this morning after taking over a Turkish Airlines plane on Tuesday and forcing the plane to land in southern Italy. He surrendered a short time later. Federal officials say wildfires across the U.S. have burned a record number of acres this year, almost 10 million acres. The cost to taxpayers, more than $1.5 billion. And the baseball playoff continues with 3 games today. Last night, Derek Jeter went 5 for 5 as the Yankees beat the Tigers 8-4. The Cardinals beat the Padres 5-1, and Frank Thomas belted a pair of home runs as Oakland beat Minnesota 3-2 in Game 1 of their series. It is now 7:19. Let's head back over to Matt now.
Jeter is the man.
Wow. He is.
He is the man. He's great. Congratulations to the Yankees and all the other winners last night. We got 80-degree temperatures today.
Yes.
And then crashing down to reality tomorrow.
That's right. Cold front is going to be the culprit. Let's take a look. In fact, we'll show you that cold front coming across the Great Lakes. Severe storms possible from Louisville all the way up to Buffalo and as far east as Scranton, with maybe even an isolated tornado or two. Here's the line coming across the Great Lakes now with some pretty heavy rain. Rainfall amounts going to top out in some areas as much as 2 inches of rain, but generally speaking, it's going to be about a ½ inch to an inch around through the Northeast. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
All right, thanks, Al. One more summer-like day around here with that southwesterly flow of air ahead of the cold front. Look for temperatures this afternoon close to 80. Front comes through tonight with the shower threat and a few thunderstorms possible, too. Behind the front, temperatures start to drop tomorrow, though, back into the 60s. That's it for highs, and get used to that. It's going to stick around a while. 81 today. Tonight's low 61, an overnight shower, storm, then a cool shot of air tomorrow, 64, partly sunny. Same thing Friday, 62. A lot of clouds Saturday at 63, and partial sunshine on Sunday with a high of 65.
Latest weather, Matt.
All right, Al, thank you very much. Still ahead, a hidden camera investigation into the germs hovering at some supermarkets. Make sure you watch this one before you go shopping. But first, this is Today on NBC.
You're watching NBC4 HD. This is News Channel 4.
Good morning, everyone. It's 7:26 on a Wednesday morning, October 4th. I'm Darlene Rodriguez. The investigation of former Congressman Mark Foley could play a part in today's congressional debate in Stamford. Republican incumbent Christopher Shays has been calling for the resignation of lawmakers who knew about the emails that led to Foley's resignation. He is now trying to distance himself from Foley, but Shays' Democratic opponent, Dianne Farrell, wants Shays to return any money raised for him by House Speaker Dennis Hastert. Let's check in on the ride to work this morning. Trish Yodice has that.
Hey, Darlene. Slowdowns in New Jersey right now in Edison, southbound side of Route 1. Still very heavy to Pearson Avenue with that water main break. A couple of lanes still closed there. Let's get you outside Skycam Network and show you Lincoln Tunnel delays. 30 minutes right now getting into the city. 20 at the Holland and 30 if you're going in at the George Washington Bridge. Finally, Nassau County eastbound side of the LIE still with some slowdowns at Willis Avenue. Exit 37 with a crash there. And also Scarsdale, Westchester County northbound side of the Hutchinson River Parkway. Delays to Weaver Street with a crash taking out the left lane. Darlene, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Trish. We'll be right back with a look at Chris's forecast.
Bruce Springsteen, We Shall Overcome the Seeger Sessions, American Land Edition. A new enhanced version of his acclaimed album, featuring 5 bonus tracks, 4 exclusive videos, a 40-minute expanded documentary, and more.